Welcome to the Didgigo Training video on how to create a proposal from scratch. If you're a new Didgigo user, please refer to our training video on the Didgigo Basics. This will teach you how to log on and how to navigate your way through the system first. Once you're up to speed with how to use Didgigo, let's start to build your proposal from scratch. Building a proposal from scratch is quite easy, yet sometimes can be time consuming depending on the variables you'd like to use. So let's get started. The first thing you need to do is come over to Proposal on your left-hand side navigation menu, and then click Add New Proposal. From here, we'll be asked a series of questions and you can just follow through as if you were filling in a form. Some of these details are completely optional and are at your discretion. Today, we'll start with using a reference number, which I already have in there today. Okay, this could be relative to your proposal or booking rather. You can also give it a Didgigo title. So this could be something like something personal. It could just be the reference number again if you wish. You've got your start and end date here. So this is the start and end date of your trip. So your passengers might be traveling from the 1st of April through to the 6th. That's what we'll go with today. You've also got the option here to choose the type of booking that it is. Okay. And a description, which is also optional. Now I'm selecting a company today as I am logged in as myself. When you are logged into your own company, that will automatically display for you, so you will not need to fill in that area. Now we're going to go ahead and add in our passengers. To do this, you can start searching for an existing client that you may have used previously inside of Didgigo, or you can simply add a new passenger. When we click the Add New Person button, we do have a box that pops up and we can fill in as little or as much information as we like. The only things that are really required are the first and last name. So today we'll go ahead and use a generic name, Jacob Smith. We'll add that person. Okay. If you're traveling with more than one person, you can fill in as many names as you wish. Once you're happy, you simply just need to click the close button. From here, we need to add our people into the booking now that we've created them. So we'll start by searching in Jacob. There we go, there's our Jacob Smith. Perfect. Now we have created obviously Jacob and Jacinta, but for the initial details of creating a booking, you only need to apply the main person traveling. Once we get inside of our proposal, we'll be able to add in Jacinta. Okay, we've got some options here. These are just agent tools you can increase here by how many adults are traveling and how many children, etc. You can also give yourself a note here of what your passenger's estimated budget is. Okay, you've got a selection of consultants here, so you can use those. And everything else should be in order. Once we're happy with creating our proposal, we go ahead and we click Add New Proposal. Okay, once done, you then click inside the edit here, and this will now bring us to the proposal we've just created. There will be a little pop-up as you just saw there. Please ignore that. That's just a little notification to let us know that there's currently no entries inside of this booking. It's a little bit of a safety precaution. So when you're building a proposal from scratch, you simply need to ignore that. You'll now see that we've got our title, we've got our main passenger, we've got our reference ID, and we've now been given a Didgigo proposal ID. If you're searching for your proposal at a later date, you can search for using any of these reference numbers. Okay, so now we need to start creating entries inside of our proposal. So to do that, we're going to use this blue box. Inside the blue box, we've got an entry type selection drop down. And if we select that, you'll see we have a few options between accommodation, custom, day tour, destination, meal or food, multi-day, or transport. You can then click inside the date, select the date, and we use this field for a product. So today we'll go ahead and we'll create a booking using 4 of the main entries so that you have a clear understanding of how to do that. So let's start with a transport entry first. Okay, let's see, transport. Okay, so starting on the 1st of April. Now, with transport, there are no products inside of Didgigo associated with transport. So all you're really doing is creating an entry here nice and easy. So transport April 1st, go ahead and add that entry. As you can see here, we've generated a transport entry. It says new entry for now, but we will come back and we're going to actually edit this further. For now, we just want to build our proposal by adding in those entries. So this might be, for example, a transfer, let's say from the airport to the hotel. From here, we're then going to be having some accommodation. So we'll come back up here, find our accommodation, select the date, and start searching for a product. So we'll search for the Novotel Queenstown today, and we'll add that entry. Okay, that's now in there as well. Then we'll come back and we'll add in a day tour or attraction. We can change the date. Again, if you'd like to change the time, you can do so here. Start searching in for the product that you're after inside of Didgigo. And add new entry. We also have a custom entry, so this could be anything if you'd like to make a custom note for your passengers. This could include something as simple as a day at leisure, a personal note as in accommodation on own arrangements, or anything like that. Custom entries work very similar to transport entries, whereby you'll only need the date. Okay, so there's 4 of the main entry types that you'll be using. Nice and easy to start building your proposal. You can see how quick that actually builds just by using this quick add guide. From here, what we want to do now is add a little bit more information to our docs. So to do that, you've got 2 options. You can simply click on the entry and use the quick edit guide, or you can click on the green pencil to edit the entry in full. Now you've got 2 options. You can simply click on this and remain in the same tab, or if you like, which I prefer, is to right click the green button and open it into a new tab. That way you can always bounce back to this main screen. So the first one we're going to edit is, of course, our transport entry. So you'll see the entry type over here if you need to change it. From here, we've got some fields here that we can start to fill in to build our proposal. Again, this can be as simple or as intense as you'd like it to be. So what we want to do is actually go ahead and give our entry a title. At the moment, you can see that it's pulling through just as new entry. So as soon as we update this to a title, that will now reflect here in this field. So we might call this a private transfer. Oops. Queenstown Airport to hotel, for example. We then want to go ahead and change the transport type to maybe private transfer to accommodation. Okay, we've then got some options here with our dates. If we need to perhaps give it a better time, so rather than the current time, remember the default time will always be the current time that it actually is. So we can come in there and say, yes, we're being collected at 9:50 from the airport. You can also enter in a finish time, so that's perhaps maybe the drop-off time at the airport, at the hotel. You've got pick up and depart, just in case these times are different from your entry start and finish dates. And you've also got some remarks here. So you might say pick up from Terminal 3, up to the Novotel Queenstown. When building a proposal, the entry title isn't as important. This tool is mainly used when we have a booking that's being imported, say from tour plan, soft trip, etc. This is where we usually pull the soft trip or tour plan title into. So this field, when you're building a proposal, is not usually necessary, as you'll always use this first line. You do have the option here to give your entry a description. One will automatically default as soon as you select one of these transport types. As you can see here, you were met at the transport location by your private driver and transferred to your accommodation. You can either add to this or you can leave it as is. Again, entry itinerary is not a field that is regularly used when building an itinerary from scratch. You can, however, include some inclusions. This might be something like that, and you might have some inclusions here as well. Okay, you can also add in a confirmation reference, class, anything like that. Let's say this was a flight, you could put in economy, etc. So the fields here are at your discretion. You can fill in as much as you like or as little as you like. Once you're happy with the details that you've entered, you can go ahead and click save. What we want to do now is come back over and now start putting more details against our next entry. So you've got two options. You can actually close this tab down, come back to your main screen, and now open the accommodation entry exactly the same way that we did the transport entry. Or you can simply click up the top here, next entry. And this will straight away take you entry by entry. Sometimes the easiest way to do it if you know you're going to have to go into each entry. Now we're inside of an accommodation entry. All you need to do from here, we've already got our title and product. We can select our room type if we wish. We've got our start date here. We might like to put in a finish date. Okay, so they might be checking out on the 4th. You can also repeat these dates if you wish. You've got two options. You can click inside and select the dates again, or as a little helpful hint, you can actually copy that by Control-C, delete this existing date, and put that one in there. Saves you scrolling through the time again. That's just a little bit of a Didgigo helpful hint for you. Okay, you've got your remarks if you would like to fill those in. Meeting points, again, entry title and general notes, not too important. Description, again, when you're building a proposal from scratch, you're usually using our product information. So most of these details won't appear on the docs anyway. The best thing to do is go through all of this, and once you've downloaded a PDF, you'll actually start to see where that data is pulling through from. Of course, if you need any help along the way, a Didgigo member is always available via the live help button. You might like to add in some inclusions here, such as breakfast. Maybe some exclusions. Again, you can add as much or as little information as you like. There might be a reference number here. So not much you need to do in this section. Once you're happy with the amount of details that you've put in or the notes that you've left, you can go ahead and click save. From here, we're going to go straight to the next entry. So I think I've clicked previous entry. Okay, so we've got Auckland to Rotorua tour. So from here, there's not many options you need to do from a tour type. It's basically just the tour at hand, which is the Didgigo product. Again, you can select the start and end date. If this was a multi-day tour, I'd go ahead and select an alternate end date. Your tour entry may start around 8:45, but your passengers might be being picked up at an alternate time. So again, that's where you might like to jump in here and say you're actually going to be picked up an hour beforehand at 7:45. Okay, you might also be dropped off. Oops, what's happened here? At 5:45, for example. You can add some remarks in here. Let's say, for example, your clients are being picked up from the hotel and drop back to the hotel. There might also be a meeting point. So again, that's completely optional. If you've got some general notes, you might like to add them in here. Again, your entry description if necessary. Don't worry too much about entry title. You might have, again, some inclusions and exclusions. Okay. And another reference number. So you can see how quick we're actually starting to push through these. So again, as much information as you want to fill in or as little, it's completely up to you. From here, we'll go to our next entry, which is our custom entry. So if you're ever in doubt of what this is, always look over to the right-hand side of the entry type and you'll know what you've created. So what we'll do for this one is just put this in as a day at leisure, and it's just starting on April the 3rd. We might like to add in a description here. This is simply a day at leisure. That's all we really need for a custom entry. As a rule of thumb when you're learning Didgigo, anything that is a accommodation, multi-day or day tour will always produce a beautiful PDF product page. Okay, anything that is a transport custom entry or anything really, really simple will not produce one of those beautiful product pages. It will simply show in the snapshot on your documentation only. So you don't need as much information for those entries. Now, as you'll notice, we have made some changes, but coming back into our main menu, you'll notice that none of those changes have appeared here. What you need to simply do is simply click the blue refresh button, and that will now update our entries grid with the changes that we've just made. Okay. Now you will notice one thing. You'll notice now that our transfer has actually started to come underneath our hotel, and that's because we changed the time. Okay, so you'll see that 9:50 is now coming in after we've elected to check in at our hotel. So you've got a couple of options here. We can simply drop this quick edit box down and change the time manually here to refresh it and push it back up the top. Or you may like to jump into your details tab, come down to the right hand side where you've got entry sorting, and you might like to sort via entry sequence, entry day, then sequence, etc. At the moment we're currently sorted by entry date and time, which is why the transfer has now populated after the accommodation. So let's go ahead and change this just to entry sequence. So I'll change that and click save. And come back over here. Now you'll notice we don't have any sequence numbers at all. So what we might like to do is start to enter those. So I actually want my transfer to come first, hotel to come second. I might want my day at leisure, even though the date's wrong. I'll just do this for educational purposes today. We might want this to be 3 and this to be 4. Once we're happy with our sequence order, we can go ahead and click the blue bulk update sequence button and automatically change our order. Okay. Once we've built our entries grid and we're happy, we can start moving on tab by tab. So we'll then come into our details tab. As you'll notice, most of these details have already been filled in. This is the first step that we did. But what we can actually do now is add in our second passenger. So to do that, using the search people button, we can now find Jacinta. And as soon as we click her, she'll now automatically add in there as well. The other important step that we need to do in the Details tab is actually come in and select our template. So you've got your template there. You can now go ahead and click Save. I always recommend coming over and hitting the Apply Template Defaults button for your proposal. This will make sure that you're getting the right details for your company's proposal. Okay, once done, if there's anything we'd like to add, now remember this will be set up to your company defaults, so you might have a specific price description here. You will need to come in and obviously enter the prices manually. Remember, when you're building a proposal from scratch, everything needs to be manually done. Okay, so you can do that, and we won't go too far today. Once you're happy with the price details that you've entered, click Save. Remember, everything is completely customizable, so whatever you would like to show on your documentation is what you need to fill into these tabs. Financials is not too important for us at this stage, but adding a welcome image is. So let's go ahead and add an image today. Set, and we might like to give our booking a title. You might like to add a custom note if you'd like. You can completely change everything that you see inside of Didgigo. Everything is editable. If you're not happy with the template default welcome message, you can always change it to something that you'd prefer. About information, again, not too important. The calendar is just an agent tool. You can use this by clicking first entry. Okay, and you can view in any form that you like. Again, please refer to our other training guides on these specific tools. This is not something that will appear in your documentation. Map is something, however, that will appear on your e-proposals. So you'll just need to click Load Proposal Map. Wait for the map to load. Now this will load according to the entry types that we've selected. As you can see, it's selected the day tour and the hotel. Now with your map, if you're happy for the way that it's sitting, you can go ahead and click the Save button. You also have the option here to remove map markers or add map markers. So let's say, for example, you'd like to remove this accommodation, simply click it, click Delete. You can also change the order, the title of it, or anything like that. And by adding a new entry, you can go ahead and simply click Add Marker. You might like to add something in here. And you'll see that that's now pushed itself up here. The map is very interactive, so again, you can do as much or as little as you'd like in this section. Again, trip preferences is not too important at this stage. Okay, so now we're at our final step. Once we get to the client documents section, I always recommend firstly coming down and clicking Save All tabs. This will just ensure that any of the work that we've just done will save. Once that's saved, you've got two options here. So I would always go your low res PDF. The PDF proposal is only for high res printing, so that will take quite some time if you do select that option. So always go with the low res PDF option. Give that a moment to load. Nice and easy. So that's now produced a PDF for us. Now the new tools with the PDF, it'll tell us which template we've selected. It'll tell us who created it and when. And it will also give us an option. So let's say you've downloaded this proposal quite so many times and you're getting quite a big list here of PDF links. You can actually start to hide them. Remember, using this feature is permanent. You will not be able to bring these back. So only hide a document if you really don't want to use it anymore. You also have the option here, give it a little bit of a document, a note. So let's go ahead and open our PDF. Okay. You'll now see that our welcome image has been applied, our title, our beautiful welcome message, passenger names, booking reference, etc. Here's our snapshot of all the details we've created. So here's our transfer title and the description we created. We've also got our hotel and the room type that we selected. Now, most of these for tours and accommodation, you'll notice there's some text here that you didn't create. This text actually pulls from the Didgigo product. So again, in the snapshot, the transport entries and the custom entries, so in this instance, the private transfer and the day at leisure, the custom notes that we enter in entry description will display on our documentation in this field. Accommodation entries and tour entries will always use our built-in descriptions. Okay, coming through to our product pages, you'll now see that we've got our accommodation here. Again, there's our room type. This larger description is again pulling through from the Didgigo product, along with the service and facilities, address details, etc. The check-in, check-out details pull from the details that you've created. Same goes for tours. The description comes from the Didgigo product, but the inclusions and exclusions come from the details that we've edited, if you remember us entering these in. Our price page will complete itself and terms and conditions as per our own company defaults. These may vary depending on your company and what they've already set up. Okay. From there, you've also got the option to come down and select your e-proposal. These links will generate very quickly. Here we go. And again, everything will look a little bit different depending on the defaults that your company has set up. Okay, so as you can see here, if we hover over inclusions, these are all the inclusions and exclusions we've entered. And of course, your price, terms, and everything else. If you need to make any amendments or any changes, please feel free to come back over to your entries grid. Remember, you've got two options. You can use the quick edit drop-down box or the full edit entry guide. Have fun while creating your proposals from scratch. Remember, you're producing something really beautiful and unique for your clients. So again, you can use as much or as little information as you prefer. If you require any further information, please feel free to come over to our knowledge base. This will navigate you to our how-to guides, or you can alternatively contact us via our live help desk. Thanks for watching today, and I hope you enjoy using Didgigo and enjoy producing some beautiful documentation for your passengers.